In celebration of Star Trek Day, Cryptic and the developers of Star Trek Online has done something I think very cool to be witnessed. This is only available for the game, basically. Channel subscription is also available on my awesome channel. If you want to support the content that I'm making and me personally, this is how you can do this. They have put like all of the models of the ships that we have, from all of the TV shows and I believe the movies too, in orbit around Earth space dock, so basically around Earth. There's going to be a lot of voiceovers and a little bit of spoken text.
Citizens of the Federation and her allies, it is my honor to introduce the official Starfleet Ships of the Line Museum. This undertaking, made possible by the help of so many of you, is to educate the galaxy at large about the history of some of the greatest ships to serve in Starfleet, and allow you to look at full-sized replicas of the ships, lovingly recreated and restored. Please, take your time and peruse this look back at our history. I know that I, myself, have already spent several days staring in wonder at these pieces of the past, preserved and revived for this day. After one standard Earth Day, the exhibit will move to several museums and galleries around the galaxy, but it will be visible once a year above Earth Space Dock and Deep Space Nine on this most important date.
Okay, so he made a little bit of a, I think this might be a typo, or this might be something that Cryptic has implemented after the voiceover. So he said right there, after one standard day, it says week over here. So I'm guessing the Star Trek Day is going to be available for the entire week for people that have don't have the option to get in the game. So you can come into a later date and still think about, or at least watch the iconic ships and have a little bit of a backstory to them. I believe I have not talked to them yet. All of these ships right here that are with like these down pointing arrows are the iconic ships, and a lot of them I believe have voiceovers. I don't really know for sure, but we're gonna find out together. So I'm going to say thank you, Mr. President, and I'm going to point my ship, even though my ship is like very hard to maneuver. I'm gonna go to the Enterprise right here, and this is Kirk's Enterprise, I believe. From what I can say, yes, it is Kirk's Enterprise. Here we go.
Space, the final frontier.
Oh, that's it? Okay. Okay, so we got a little bit of a backstory. I'm going to try to read this. Obviously, I'm not going to do the, the actor justice. Kirk over here doing a very phenomenal thing. Very iconic. But this is his ship, even though my ship is like really huge. Let me try to get a smaller ship. This one is a smaller ship, so I can actually put the emphasis on the ships and not in my ship, because I do apologize for all of the colors and weird stuff. But this is the USS Enterprise from the 1701 over here. Very nice. So whenever you're going to be, I believe this entire week in Star Trek Online, you can basically come here and look at this beautiful masterpiece. Right here. Now this is also a ship that you can purchase in game. If you have no idea, you can actually fly this ship have it in combat, have it your own ship. It's very, very, very good. A lot of people use it for iconic reasons, but it's also a decent ship in Star Trek Online. Anyway, let me read this. The most celebrated starship of her time, the Constitution-class Enterprise, had over 40 years in service to Starfleet, most of that time including her celebration 5-year missions from 2265 to 2270, was under the command of James Tiberius Kirk. Besides her initial mission goals of seeking out life and new civilization, the Enterprise assigned many in need throughout. The Enterprise assisted many in need through the galaxy and defended the Federation from threats such as Khan Noonien Singh. In her final fight, she was commanded from Starfleet by her most famous captain and crew before being destroyed over the Genesis planet. Notable crew members: James T. Kirk, Spock, Leonard Nimoy, Montgomery Scott, Hikaru Sulu, Nyota Uhura, Pavel Chekhov. So Star Trek, this is basically the series when they started airing out, September or 8th of this September in 1966 all the way to 3rd of June in 1969, of a total of 79 episodes. And it states right here, without the original series, none of us would be here today. The iconic show aired from just 3 seasons in the late 1960s, having been saved from cancellation several times by fan companions. However, when the show moved to a syndication, its popularity exploded, leading to 6 feature films with the original cast. The show was inspired people from all walks of life, including scientists who cite Star Trek as the inspiration for innovations like the cell phone. Oh yeah, that's definitely where the the flip out phone came from. Okay, so they also put like the Enterprise from what's it called? Patrick Stewart, sorry. Up here, so the NCC 1701D.
Let's make sure history never forgets the name Enterprise.
Oh, we made it very iconic over there. Very nice. The 4th ship to bear both the Enterprise name of the iconic 1701 registry. The Enterprise D has an iconic piece of Federation history, led by the principles of Captain Jean-Luc Picard. This legendary vessel ventured into the galaxy, much changed since the original NCC 1701 has gone on her 5-year mission. During her time amongst the stars, the Enterprise D was presented a part of many major historic events, including the first encounter with both the Q Continuum and the Borg. Without the dedication of her brave crew, many more lives would likely have been lost in these incidents. Notable crew members: Jean-Luc Picard, William Riker, Beverly Crusher, Worf, Data, George LaForge, Deanna Troi, Wesley Crusher, Catherine Pulaskis, that's basically the doctor before Beverly Crusher, and also Tasha Yar that they basically killed off. Star Trek The Next Generation aired from 28th of September 1987 till 23rd of May 1994, with a total of 176 episodes. Wow, that's a lot. If the original series is the point from which all Star Trek originates, The Next Generation was the franchise's first great test. While the movies with the cast of the original series were popular in the cinematics, The idea of creating a sequel to the show with all new characters was a bold one that could have fallen flat on its face. Thankfully, Gene Roddenberry chose an excellent cast and an amazing group of writers to carry on his legacy because of the success of the next generation. Star Trek lives on. Oh, that's so cool. So we got Jean-Luc Picard's Enterprise. We also have another tiny ship in comparison to the previous ones. And this one is the Defiant, and we're coming up on that right now. Here we go.
We are explorers. We explore our lives day by day. And we explore the galaxy, trying to expand the boundaries of our knowledge. And that is why I am here. Not to conquer you with weapons or with ideas, but to coexist and learn.
Now, that is not something that Benjamin Sisko, I forgot the real name of the actor that portrayed Benjamin Sisko, basically the captain of the Defiant. He did not do a voiceover, and this is just something that they grabbed from a piece of episode. Because you kind of see, or at least you kind of heard the little bit of a music on the background. Don't know where that comes from, what episode, but it's just something that my ears are picking up. But anyway, let's read about this. The Defiant class project has begun in 2366 as a response to the increased Borg threat in the to the Federation. This tough little ship that's basically, I'm going to leave it like that, but it's something that Riker actually called this little ship. Oh, you can actually have another one over there, or is that a different one? No, that's basically the same. It's also a Defiant. This might be like a better version though. Let me go to the information and see what kind of ship he's using. No, it's the same. Tier 5U is basically the same ship. Anyway, this tough little ship was Starfleet's first real attempt at a warship with almost no scientific equipment on board. Unfortunately, she did not pass her trials, and the project was put on hold until Commander Benjamin Sisko, a member of the Defiant team, asked for her to be assigned to Deep Space Nine and hold off the threat of the Dominion. From there, she served with distinct in the Dominion War and remained in service until her destruction in 2375. The USS São Paulo was assigned to the Deep Space Nine and renamed the Defiant in her honor. Notable crew members, So we got Benjamin Sisko, Jadzia Dax, Urzi Dax is basically Jadzia's follower, if you can call it that. When Jadzia actually died, her symbiote. Anyway, I'm not going to spoil it for you guys. Just go and watch the show. It's really, really cool. Worf from the Next Generation also played in Deep Space Nine. So you got Julian Bashir was the Doctor, Miles O'Brien, and also from Deep Space, also played in Deep Space Nine from the Next Generation. Kira Nerys, Nog Odo was the Changeling, basically. Quark, honorary, and Jake Sisko, also honorary. I don't know what this honorary is all about, but maybe you guys can let me know in the comment section. Deep Space Nine aired from January 3rd, 1939 till 2nd of June 1999 with a total of 173 episodes. Star Trek Deep Space Nine is one of the most beloved series in Star Trek history, and with good reason, introducing some of Trek's most memorable characters and a deeper, more announced a look at the Federation society. Deep Space Nine told some unforgettable stories. The impact of its serialized style can still be felt today in modern Star Trek television. It's kind of weird that they did not put the Garrick up here, because he is also very, very good on the crew members, but he's never been a crew member of the Defiant. Maybe that's the reason. Let me end this transmission and go to USS Voyager. Now this is Captain Janeway's ship of exploration. Let me hail this thing.
In a region where shifting allegiances are commonplace, we have to have something stable to rely on. And we do. The principles and ideals of the Federation.
Yeah, that's also a little bit of an episode. Basically, just they recorded that because you still do hear that little bit of background music that they put up there just to fill the void. Because anyway, the USS Voyager hold the distinction of the starship that explored the most unknown space during the course of her voyage. Although this was not her intended mission, during a mission to secure the Maquis terrorist on board the Valjean, the ship encountered a being known as the Caretaker, was thrusted several thousand light years into the Delta Quadrant. For 7 years, under the more than capable command of Catherine Jabe, the crew searched for a way to return to the Alpha Quadrant and their loved ones. Finally succeeded in 2378. The scientific and anthropical data brought back from her voyage was instrumental for the Starfleet's understanding of the varied species and locals of the Delta Quadrant, knowledge that is still referenced to this day. So we got honorable crew members: Catherine Janeway, Tuvok, Chakotay, Harry, Kim, Tom, Paris, 7 of 9, B'Elanna, the Doctor, Neelix, and also Kes. Cool. Star Trek Voyager aired from January 16 in 1995 all the way to May 23, 2001, with a total of 168 episodes. Nice. Star Trek Voyager was the first and still only Star Trek television show to star a female Starfleet captain. During its 7-year run, it returned to the original Star Trek model of exploration and completely unknown part of space. The show is also notable for a deep space dive into one of the Star Trek's iconic enemies, the Borg, providing new layers and details to that terrifying alien race. I love it. We got... what kind of the Enterprise is this? Oh, this is also from Jean-Luc Picard. These two, I believe. No, this one is the other one. So this is the 1701-E. So this one is, I definitely know this one. This one is from the TV movie, or not the TV, from the movie First Contact. This is the ship that Jean-Luc basically used to fight off the Borg when they went back in time. So that's cool. After the destruction of the Enterprise D in 2371, the Sovereign-class vessel was rechristened in her honor and launched in the Enterprise E. The crew of the previous Enterprise was transferred over mostly intact and continued to serve under the command of Jean-Luc Picard. Sleeker and arguably more powerful than a predecessor, the Enterprise E served with distinction in several major Starfleet crises, including the Borg invasion of Earth pasts, the conflict with the Sona, and the battle with the Romulan Shinzon. Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. Shinzon. Cool. Crew members Jean-Luc Picard, William Riker, Beverly Crusher, Data, Worf, Geordi, and Deanna Troi. So you see the movies that were here. So you got Nemesis, Insurrection, and the line that Jean-Luc Picard actually quoted from was from First Contact over here. And you see lots of people doing the same deal that I was doing, because this is definitely like an iconic day. So everybody's into this. The crew of Star Trek The Next Generation become a second Starfleet crew to receive their own series of movies, beginning with Star Trek Generations in 1994. The Enterprise E is the first ship in Trek to replace her predecessor with a completely new class. The Next Generation movies are a legacy of the impact Picard and his crew had on pop culture. Oh, that's awesome. And transmission. Now, for you guys that are like, hey, what is this all about? This ship looks very weird. I'm going to try to... maybe I have like a Federation ship for you guys. Here, Kobayashi Maru. Okay. That is... what I'm actually doing is I'm switching my ships in space so I can give you more screen coverage area so you guys can look at these ships a little bit better. Now this thing has like... Okay, I thought that this thing wouldn't have any engines, so we couldn't fly anywhere. So this is the ship that J.J. Abrams actually skewed off the original timeline and made a new one. He made like his own timeline. And this is basically, that's why it's in between brackets. So you see the Kelvin timeline over here. So this is the Enterprise NCC 1701, but then the Kelvin timeline, so the Kelvin version.
Your father was captain of a starship for 12 minutes. He saved 800 lives, including your mother's and yours. I dare you to do better.
Now this is interesting because I don't know if this is a voiceover, or this is just something that they grabbed from the movie and removed the background music, because this whole scene was taking place in a bar and there is definitely music on the background, but in this recording there is no music at all, so that's kind of interesting. Let me read here. The ship you are viewing is a replica of the ship from the alternate universe. During the destruction of Romulus, Ambassador Spock and a Romulan terrorist known as Nero were pulled into the black hole and transported back in time to 2233. Nero's ships, the Narada, engaged with the USS Kelvin, creating a branching timeline that resulted in many changes from the history we know. Knowledge of this universe, including this alternate version of the historic Enterprise, was gained during the Sphere Builders incident in 2410. I should put this ship a little bit right here, like that, so you guys can look at this ship a little bit better. So, crew members James T. Kirk, Spock, Leonard McCoy, Montgomery Scott, Hikaru Sulu, Nyota Uhura, Pavel Chekhov, and 0718. So if you guys don't know, 0718 wasn't really having a lot of screen time, but he was one of the bridge officers, and I believe I have him in my, here we go, as my bridge officer. So this is basically, this is like the android of that that year, basically. So he's like fully like android-y. That's even a thing. So with this particular ship, there were made 3 movies. So in 2009, Into Darkness, and also Beyond. The Kelvin Timeline films were a alternate retelling of the story of the classic original series. In order to retell the story of a modern sensibility, the decision was made to set the films in an alternate universe, a brilliant decision that allowed new actors, sets, and stories while still connecting to the original Star Trek continuity. A young cast took over the classic roles of the original series and played them to perfection. So that one is that. I wonder what kind of Enterprise we're going to see right now. A very small one. I don't know if I can put her up very close with you guys. Now, this particular Enterprise was Jonathan Archer Enterprise. So this is basically where it all began, kinda.
We'll find a way through this, but I won't leave anyone behind. Not if I can help it. I can't try to save humanity without holding on to what makes me human.
So I believe this is this particular quote is from a TV show that has to do with the sphere builders. I believe Captain Archer was having to sacrifice his own way of. He basically had to start attacking a ship to gain resources to rebuild his engine. That's as far as memory serves me, but let's read about this. In 2151, before the Federation has even formed, the first Starfleet ship to bear the name Enterprise was launched. She was the first ship capable of going to Warp 5, a huge leap forward technological. This experimental new ship was meant to be on a test run until an encounter with the Klingon changed everything. Under the command of Jonathan Archer, she served with distinction until 2161, when she was retired with full honors. During her historic voyage in the stars, she was instrumental in protecting humanity from many threats, including the Xindi weapon. So notable crew members: Jonathan Archer, T'Pol, Charles Tucker III, Malcolm Reed, Travis Mayweather, Hoshi Sato, and Phlox. Phlox was the Doctor, if anybody remembers him. Very, very cool. Star Trek Enterprise aired from 26th of September 2001 all the way to 13 May of 2015 with a total of 97 episodes. The last show to carry the Star Trek banner from 12 years, Enterprise told the story of one of the last exploring areas in Star Trek history, the time before the founding of the Federation. This low-tech character-focused take on Star Trek boldly went into the future of television, refusing to let the torch burn out. It is remembered for the excellent take on classic Trek stories and for its depiction of events that led to the format of the United Federation of Planets. Awesome. We got 3 more. 3 more to go. What kind of a flagship is this, you might say? Well, this one is the Discovery. Very, very hyped when this show came to be. A lot of people were like, yeah, this is going to be the show that we are going to get hooked on Star Trek again.
The only way to defeat fear is to tell it no. No. We will not take shortcuts on the path to righteousness. No. We will not break the rules that protect us from our basest instincts. No. We will not allow desperation to destroy moral authority.
Yep. With the with her exploits only recent rediscovered after years of the highest classification, the USS Discovery is an important part of the Federation history that we are only just learning about. It was discovered that one of our captains, Gabriel Lorca, has been replaced by his counterpart from the Mirror Universe during the prior world incident. After his removal from command, the Discovery was instrumental in ending the First Federation-Klingon War, and it stopped the threat of the rogue AI known as Control. The ship then disappeared into the far future, where all of our record's history has been lost, or rather, hasn't happened yet. So, crew members: Gabriel Lorca, Saru, Michael Burnham, Paul Stamets, Ellen Landry, Ash Tyler, Hugh Colbert, Hugh Colbert, Sylvia Tilly, awesome. Ariam was like that mechanical android kind of deal going on. Jet Reno, Philippa Georgiou, Christopher Pike, and Spock. Are we missing somebody? No, I think we got everything. So we got the Discovery begin airing in 24 of September 2017, 29 episodes as of the writing, because Discovery is ongoing at the time of this recording. They're basically making a third season that is in the making. They kind of released a couple of trailers about this. So that's going to be interesting where that is going to lead us. Star Trek Discovery is the triumphant return of Star Trek to television after 12 long years. The first show to star a character who was not the ship's captain. Discovery set out to begin a bold new era in Trek storytelling with serialized continuing stories. The show tells the story of a Federation history, including the first war with the Klingons, and it's continuing on today, telling the story of the Federation in its far, far future. Awesome. Now we have another Enterprise over here. Whoa, what's happening? Got a little bit of a lag spike. Sorry about that. Why is my ship moving backwards? Because I'm telling it to. Sorry. All right.
Wherever our mission takes us, we'll try to have a little fun along the way too, huh? Make a little noise. Ruffle a few feathers.
I love it, man. This is basically Captain, what's his name? Pike? Yeah, Christopher Pike. He is an awesome character. I wish he was involved in the Discovery TV show a little bit more than he had, but he is such a great character. And the guy that plays him, the actor, is so good, and in portraying the character to its full potential, basically. But that's just my opinion, obviously. So we got the Enterprise NCC 1701, and this is the 2257 version. This replica of is an example of the design iteration of one of the most famous of Starship, while the Enterprise most famous appearance is seen earlier in this museum. This is a sample of what the ship looked like in 2257 under the command of Christopher Pike, while James T. Kirk may cast the longest shadow on Starfleet. Pike was a kind of deeper, effective captain who led the Enterprise to explore many strange new worlds. It is interesting to see the difference between this vessel and Kirk's Enterprise, and an encounter to all Starfleet officers to always be thinking of the future and how to improve the past designs. So we got crew members Christopher Pike, Una, aka Number 1, and Spock, and Nan. Nan is basically a character that has like this facial apparatus. I really like her. She's cute in my opinion. So this is the version of the USS Enterprise that appeared in Star Trek Discovery. While she is the same ship that appeared in the original series, she has been recreated with a modern design, sensibility, and a current graphical technology. While she was a distinct, slicker look, she still has the same profile that made us all fall in love with Kirk's Enterprise to begin with. We'll see more of the ship when the new show, Star Trek Strange New Worlds, premieres. So this is also a little bit of Christopher Pike is basically going to have his own show with all of these guys like Number 1, Spock, and Nan. And they're basically going to... going to have their own, strange new worlds. Nice. I'm looking forward to that. So we got the last one over here. And this is like the final version, the F.
Theirs not to make reply. Theirs not to reason why. Theirs but to do and die. Into the Valley of Death rode the 600.
Okay, so this is basically a poem that rhymes. I have no idea where this is from or how it came to be or anything like that. This might be, lacking of interest by my part. I do apologize. I couldn't give you guys like a little bit of a backstory to this. But I did get an accolade, so that's kind of interesting. You received the new title, Historical Document Expert. That's basically because I ran through all of the ships making this video for you guys. But this is like the last version of the Enterprise 1701-F. So this is kind of cool to see, and I got a little bit of a surprise for you guys, so it's not the end of the video yet, but the flagship of the Federation, the Enterprise F, has served during some of the most tremendous years. Whoa, we got a Jemadar over here coming. I think it's like a friend of mine, maybe. He has his pets following my ship, but anyway. Little bit of distractions, I do apologize. Let me start over. The flagship of the Federation, the Enterprise F, has served during some of the most tremendous years of the Federation history. From the wars with the Klingon Empire to the catastrophic battles of the Iconian War, the conflict with the Senkethi and the Herc, and the current troubles in the Klingon Empire, it's hard to believe this ship has been in service for 2 years. In 2409, she launched under the command of Vakel Shan. This is the Andorian guy. When she has been keeping us safe ever since. We at this museum hope that as long as there is a Federation, there will be a ship to bear the name Enterprise. So notable crew members, so you got Sean over here, Samuel Winters, Jirkel Cav, Tem Inasi, Savel, Philippa Mathias, Kiona, and Kirayoshi O'Brien. This is basically the ship from Star Trek Online, so this is their own version of the best... their version of Star Trek, the Enterprise, basically from Star Trek Online, their spin-off. Star Trek Online launched officially on September 2nd in 2010 with 185 episodes as of this writing. We may hope that you still enjoy visiting the Star Trek Online Museum, I should say. and for helping us celebrate more than 50 years of the franchise. We live in one of the greatest era of Trek, with more shows, comic, novel, and video games coming every day. It has been an honor to keep that fire burning in Star Trek Online. Thank you for spending the time with us, and there's too many more years to the final frontier. Oh, that's so cool. So this is a little bit of a spin-off on Star Trek Online's own version of this thing. So I did say that there is going to be also a little bit of something that you guys already saw in the TV show, especially if you watched Jonathan Archer's version. This is basically a ship that they did not put up here in the museum, basically, and this is the Enterprise J version. This is basically when the temporal war was a thing. And this guy has his pets surrounding my ship. They're not going to attack my ship or anything like that. They're just basically there for a little bit of support. But this is like the Enterprise that they did not have in the museum. This is like the Enterprise J. And trust me, as a ship, this is very, very, very big. So it's very cool to have this thing here as well. And I'm just going to show you a little bit because I thought this is going to be very interesting to keep the Enterprise line, you know, so far up to its name, because this particular ship was only shown in the interior version. So with like a time traveler, he had like some quarters right there, and you can basically see like just the warp nacelle and basically just like this part up here. So you couldn't see the front and all that good stuff, but only a little bit of the bottom part. And I thought that might be interesting for you guys to have a closer look at, you know, the last Enterprise that's not being up in the museum, even though I kind of wish that they did put them up there, but then it wasn't a official Star Trek Enterprise ship, because it was just mentioned once. But this is how it looks like in the game. This ship, by design, was meant to be like one of those really, really big ships where entire families could live on the ship and basically do their whole whatever they're going to be focusing on in space. They can basically do that with the entire family. So this is kind of like a generation ship, basically, where you have your grandma and kids of kids, stuff like that, in one particular ship. There you can have like a cross section of this ship, like how big it is compared to the final version, the Enterprise F. And if I move on to the other ships, just to give you guys a comparison right here, so you guys know what I'm talking about. This thing is like really, really big. Look how small that one is. And this is like the current Discovery ship. This is not like the Mirror Universe Discovery, even though they don't have a difference in size. Look at how small that is. Look at how small that is. And I'm just basically on top of this thing, so it's like very, very small. Anyway, I'm not gonna make this video any longer than it already is. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for if you're playing Star Trek Online, that's just awesome. They basically made like this entire museum of Enterprises, and it looks cool. A little bit of a backstory over there, a little bit of a voiceover. I'm really, really happy. Love to see you guys on the next video. Take care. Later.